Ben. I am the owner of Lagartun, and I bought it in 2015 when the previous owners basically gave it up. They didn't want to do it anymore. And I have been working non-stop ever since. So Lagartun, or Lagartun, was started by a couple in the US, and eventually I took it over in 2015. And the reason that I did that is because I was looking for a lifetime supply of tinsels just for myself. And I didn't really fully understand what I was walking into because at that point the rumor mill was abound with all kinds of rumors. But eventually I found out that the company was still totally viable. Everything is still made in France. And I ended up phoning home and saying, okay, I just bought myself a company, so I'm gonna be a little longer coming home. I gotta pack up all the stuff, and that's how it all started for me. It was in 2015. Yeah, so I've been fishing since I was a little kid. I grew up in Edmonton, and there's only one thing to do when you grow up in Edmonton, and that is to leave. So I did that right after my 19th birthday. I had a job at the time that brought me out here. They had a position that was open, and it was the first kind of big step in my life because I was quite young back then. And that's how I ended up in Vancouver. So a number of years ago now, I got a job working in a shop right downtown Vancouver, Pacific Angler. Jason Tonelli was a great guy to work for. I really miss those days. We had a ton of fun. Jason particularly would criticize my t-shirt selection, and I can't really say that I blame him because I never cared. But every once in a while I would walk into a shirt, I would walk into the shop, and one of my favorite shirts at the time said, "I heart my penis." And Jason didn't particularly care for that shirt, but the customers loved it. Like, I mean, loved it. I would have awesome conversations, not with the guys, but with their wives. It was hilarious. I was for sure the class clown at the shop. And we had some awesome times in there. I wouldn't trade that for the world. So when I was at Pacific Angler, I had many different hats on. I did a little bit of guiding, but I'll be the first one to tell you that I didn't really like it, because as soon as people were giving me money to put them on top of fish, it just felt weird. I was the guy that would greet you when you came into the shop, and if you bought your first Spey rod, I would meet you on the weekend, and we would just go someplace and do some fishing and some casting, and I'd make sure that you have enough of an understanding that you wouldn't put too many holes in the back of your head, and give you a direction to start in anyway. So I did do a bit of guiding at the shop, but it was never really my preference. I would always just, you'd come in, buy a rod and a reel, and I would just say, okay, this weekend you and I are gonna go out to the river. And I still to this day have friends that I met that way at the shop. And we've definitely had some adventures that way. I also did some commercial tying for the shop. It started off with doing beach flies and steelhead patterns and you name it. No matter how many companies are out there that tie flies for steelhead or trout or even the warm water stuff, they don't quite have the local knowledge. And sometimes you don't need it, but when you need it, you really need it. And so I was just that guy. I filled that space at the shop. I would get off work, go home, tie flies all bloody night while watching episodes of South Park. And I had a whale of a time. It was awesome. So there was 1 year in particular where I was doing a little bit of guiding. And it was me and one other guide, and we had 2 clients. And they were also very good friends of the shop. And we went to the nth degree to make sure that these guys were gonna have an awesome day on the river. And we did. And we were in one run in particular, and this one gentleman was fairly new to two-handed game, casting the Spey rod. And we're in this run, and I told him, I said, you need to get like another, 25, 30 feet. There's like a tub out there, and that's where they're gonna be sitting. And he looked at me and he's like, hey man, this is all I got right here. This is all the business. And I said, okay, all right. And he finished his swing. And I said, okay, give me the rod for just a second. And I pulled off the rest of the line that was needed. And I really quickly just bombed the cast out. I did a quick mend, and then I shoved the rod in his hand, and I said, okay, no, wait. He's gonna be right about there. And 1 second later, the line went tight. He sets the hook, and he turns and looks at me with his jaw in the river. Like, I don't understand how that happened. And it only happened the one time, but we still joke and laugh about it. It was the one time that I actually was able to call it out. And he looked at me a lot different after that point. That's one of my fondest memories of guiding somebody on the river. I was able to pull out of the hat one time.